shared the daily medications and trials that a cystic fibrosis patient goes through. I was gearing up for my senior year of high school. I had been enrolled in all my AP classes, because I'm that smart, yeah, AP. I'm gonna brag about it. And I even already had my homecoming dress, which I looked really good in. I'm gonna brag about it. But cystic fibrosis had other plans for me. So here is where my journey begins. Take a seat, buckle up, keep all hands, arms, legs, and feet inside the ride. It was my first week of high school, and I had been to only a few classes for a couple days when the CF monster struck. I was at dinner with the Hambright family, and then I really started to not feel well. I hadn't felt great all week though. When you have CF, managing the steady routine of breathing treatments, 50+ pills a day, hospitalization stays, and even at-home IVs, you pretty much have your own unofficial MD license. And you know when something is wrong. My CF-impacted lungs have been having a tougher time. On a good day, my lungs were working to about 65% of their capacity, which is relatively okay. But then when I get sick, they would slide to below 40%. I knew something was not right. I came home, left for the hospital, and then was admitted that night. The first week of my senior year, and here I was, in the hospital at Long Beach Memorial. I went into my normal CF wing of Long Beach and was visited by one of my doctors, Dr. Nussbaum. He spent Saturday morning with me, but in our conversation, I knew that something was not right. I was immediately placed in the pediatric ICU. I really don't remember that much, but in terms of what happened, all I know is that I just got sick. And I mean, I got really, really sick. Was it a virus, bacteria, or just some bug that was rapidly advancing in my CF lungs? We did not know. All we knew was that there was a battle going on inside of my body, and I was losing. I couldn't breathe, and regardless of supplemental oxygen, my O2 sat levels were dropping, and my CO2 levels were increasing. Not good. On Sunday, September 13th, just 2 days after I was first admitted into the hospital, I went into pulmonary failure. The infection in my lungs had taken over, requiring me to be intubated, which basically means a breathing tube was inserted and I was put on a ventilator. My lungs could no longer support me on their own. My body was under so much stress, I then became septic, and my body began to shut down. I was then medically sedated and unconscious in order to stabilize my condition and give my lungs a chance to heal. This is where it gets weird. My mom knows. Everyone who has been in a coma has experienced and seen different things. I cannot explain why, but for some reason, I was on a cruise ship. Oh, it gets better. I was on the cruise ship with the 11th President of the United States, James K. Polk. It continues to get better. If that was not weird enough, the Planters Peanut Man was there by my side too. That's right, I'm talking about the half peanut, half man guy who wears a little hat and a monocle. It was interesting. Back in the real world, I was placed on 2 different types of ventilators, but my CF-infected lungs were not recovering. I was then placed on what is considered the last option life support for someone with pulmonary failure, which is a machine called ECMO. ECMO is life support that bypasses your lungs and adds oxygen and takes out carbon dioxide. It was breathing for me. I had 3 people with me around the clock at Long Beach Memorial, a nurse, a dialysis nurse, and a perfusionist that managed the ECMO machine. Gosh, you were all pretty quiet. Relax, I'm still here, so this obviously has a happy ending. Besides, I was sedated on a cruise with James K. Polk and the Peanut Guy. Mentally, I was doing pretty well. However, after 3 weeks at Long Beach, my lungs were not healing. My greatest chance for survival would be to transfer to UCLA Medical Center, which included the strong probability of a lung transplant. I was unconscious for 3 weeks by now. Unknown to me, my life was in the balance. Unconscious, uncertain, and unknowing. Transferring to UCLA was no easy feat. Fitting all IV equipment, the life support stuff, the ventilator, dialysis machine, an ECMO, and a helicopter was not feasible. With 2 ambulances packed with equipment and personnel, I made my way to Westwood, with many contingency plans built in for traffic and emergencies. I made it to UCLA. I made it with tubes in my neck and legs, all tied to my major veins and arteries that were keeping me going. It's now mid-October. I'm starting to wake up from being medically sedated. I'm scared, I can't really move, and unknown to me, I had a trach placed in my throat, so I could not speak. My life was a series of medical issues and opportunities that changed every 8 to 24 hours. It seemed like I was living the old tagline of 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I was still really, really sick. They say it's always darkest before the dawn, and I will truly believe that. October 15th would be one of those dark days. This is the part of the story where my dad leaves the room. I really had no track of time. While in the hospital, I would be awake around 4 in the morning. So me and my dad had just finished up some of our late night hijinks and joking around and decided to call it a night. However, at 6 a.m., the ECMO machine released a blood clot that went into my heart, and I went into cardiac arrest. My heart stopped. My dad always says someday he will share with me the details of what happened that morning, but conveniently always says, he'll tell me later. But I really think that later will never come. The UCLA ICU team brought me back to life, but the clot moved from my heart to my lungs. This was the final knockout punch for my CF lungs. Done, game over. The only way for me to survive now would be a double lung transplant. The number 1 fear in the world is public speaking. The second of death is death. I've conquered both, so if spiders is the third, I'm stopping at first and second. I was so sick, it was in question on whether or not I was a good candidate for a transplant. It's the responsibility of the hospital and a real obligation to the donor and donor's family that the organ be given to someone who has the highest chance of success. My chances of success were in question. I had some real champions in my corner though, willing to fight for my life, placing their professional credibility on the line for a 17-year-old girl that they didn't really know. With their help, compassion, and a bit of challenging the transplant process, I was placed as a priority on the transplant list. ECMO for me now included both a lung bypass and a heart bypass. This was it. In terms of life support options for me, I was out. I also assumed that we were all out of space in the room and there were pretty much no other electrical outlets for us to plug stuff in. I was in a race for my donor to come to my rescue. ECMO was starting to clot again. It was such a balance act to thin my blood to keep it from clotting, but then also too thin would lead to other significant problems. But that's when something happened though. My old Shelby CF lungs, the originals, the OGs. My rusty old pipes did not want to quit. Even though they were infected, scarred, beat up, and clotted, they had one last push in them. Of course, with the help of the ventilator and the team around me. I couldn't have done this all on my own people. The ECMO and the lines were pulled. I was critical, but I was holding. During this brief window of time, my hero came. I didn't know their name, who they were, what had happened to them. All I know is that they and their families gave me the ultimate gift, a new set of lungs. My hero arrived on a medical helicopter late evening on October 27th, and as they were being prepped, so was I. I kissed my parents goodbye, cranked up my playlist, and counted down till the anesthesia kicked in. Sorry guys, I really like to give you the gory blood and guts stuff about this transplant surgery and truly make it an episode of House. but I know I would not do my miracle much justice. Both Dr. Ardahali and Dr. Ross from UCLA are my miracle makers, and I'm so happy that Dr. Ardahali could be here tonight with his family. I woke up sedated and sore, but something had changed. After just a few days, I did not need a ventilator. I was able to take a long, deep breath. On a good day with my old set of lungs, I would take 35 breaths a minute, but within the first week, I was at 12. I went from having to take 3 times the amount of breaths to breathing normal. I spent the next 6 weeks recovering, and for the first time, I felt like I was winning this battle. I may have lost almost 30 pounds, had non-stop nausea, a deconditioned body, neuropathy in both feet, not able to walk, been on dialysis, and I lost a good amount of my hair. But that's the real tragedy. But hey, I think I kind of look like Natalie Portman from the movie V for Vendetta. Despite all of that, the most important thing is that I am here. I made it by the grace of God and the prayers of many, along with the help and support of the best doctors, nurses, and personnel staff in the world. I may be a bit beat up and scarred, but I am here. And according to the internet, scars are one of the most attractive things, so I must be looking really, really hot right now. December 10th, I made it home, 85 days in the hospital. I cried in the car. I cried all the way home. I cried when I got home. I cried when I saw my bed. I cried when I saw my dogs. And I even cried when I saw the refrigerator. I missed half a year of school, but worked hard, and I did 2 semesters in 1, and I graduated in May from Orange Lutheran High School with a 4.0 GPA. Welcomed me back with open arms, and that is also something I'm truly thankful for. As for the future, I will be taking a semester off to get stronger and then attending Chapman University in the spring. And sure, there are some things that aren't quite right with me right now, but I'm working every day and I'm getting stronger. Many thoughts and prayers were sent on my behalf. The list of friends and family who cared for me is huge, and I can't thank you all enough. I love you all, including the Hambright family, the Burlinghams, of course, and the McLeods. A couple of my champions are here tonight, and I would like to recognize them. Will the Long Beach Memorial team please stand up? For years, caring for me, helping me above and beyond. You are all responsible for saving me and getting me to UCLA so I had the chance to live. You have always been there for me, and I know I would not be here if it weren't for you all. Thank you. UCLA is a special place for me. I arrived unconscious and on life support, but I left awake, alive, and with a future. Now, Dr. Ardahali, if you could please stand up. You are my miracle worker. I was broken and you fixed me. Your skills as a surgeon are matched by your compassion as a human being. I know you fought for me when the odds were against me getting a transplant. You fought for me and saved my life. Because of you, I am inspired to share my story and spread awareness for organ donation to help save the lives of others. Thank you. Cystic fibrosis is a disease that I have. In 18 years, CF has taken me on a journey that most people won't experience in 5 lifetimes. Hospitals, doctors' offices, clinical trials, surgeries, lots and lots of pills, procedures, breathing treatments, IV antibiotics, emergency rooms, ICUs, ventilators, life support, ECMO, dialysis, transplants. It's all been a part of my life. At times it's difficult, but it's those things that have kept me here to experience life, love, friends, family, my dogs, and everyone here tonight. I am beyond thankful to be here, and I am so thankful to so many people. I am here. CF brought us all here tonight in one way, shape, or form. My hope is that as you hear my story, we keep the momentum on finding a cure and turning the letters CF into the words cure found. Thank you, and in the words of David Bowie, I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise it won't be boring.